Hello, this is a brief overview of the history of instructional design and technology. First, let's start with some definitions. Instructional design simply means developing experiences that promote learning. Instructional media are the means by which instruction is given. Before World War II, instructional media mainly consisted of the teacher, typically using chalkboard or pencil and paper and books to teach. With the development of technologies such as motion pictures and radios, there was some attempt at using those technologies to impact and perhaps even revolutionize education, but nothing extremely dramatic happened over time. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, John Dewey promoted the idea that scientific study and rigor should be used to study how people learn and use that knowledge to impact education. So those were some of the early beginnings of a more rigorous instructional design. During World War II, the military recruited Hollywood to make films that could quickly train recruits into complex procedures or skills. The image that you see on the left there is actually from a DVD that is being sold on Amazon from somebody who took an old film and converted it into DVD format so that people could watch it nowadays, what those early World War II era films were like. On the right here you see a picture also from World War II of psychological examiners that the military used, the development or the assessments developed by these psychologists to place recruits in appropriate programs for them. After World War II, there was a lot of, obviously, development of technology. As one big thing was the television, and there was a lot of interest in educational television, and eventually PBS was developed, and there was also a lot of money put into research of how media could impact education, especially with fears of the Cold War, wanting to make sure that the United States had a populace that was well educated in math and technology and science. Of course, the development of personal computers also improved education to some degree. In the area of instructional design, there were two main schools of thoughts, the behaviorists and the cognitive psychologists. A prominent one was B.F. Skinner, who helped us develop the idea of formative assessments, which are still very common, commonly accepted idea in education today. Benjamin Bloom, of course, perhaps one of the most famous names in education, helped us develop the idea of learning domains, of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. With his cognitive domains really are part of sort of a bread and butter of educators all over the United States today. Currently, the development of the internet and social media and mobile devices have made knowledge almost ubiquitous to anyone with internet access, which means that distance education has become very viable and reliable and is becoming more reputable every year. Also, these technologies have the power to create simulations and games and online learnings that seem to be impacting education a great deal. Nowadays, instructional designers are studying how learners are able to not just absorb knowledge, but also create their own knowledge and how authentic tasks impact education.